as kids and as we grow up. So, yeah, my guys you probably know already.
Howie, Mensa, Alana, Robley,
Break up. And then we'll be starting tonight's presentation.
Okay, so I'm going to be touching on the subject of giving your child personal space and grow, and the growth to grow and freedom when needed. Knowing when to give your child space can be confusing and a frustrating time for both sides, but it has devastating consequences. Not giving your child adequate space disables them from becoming strong, independent individuals. It prohibits them from becoming strong, intelligent contributors to our society. This does not mean to parent differently or less. It simply means to change the way to allow them to make mistakes and to learn from their mistakes, because that's one of the only ways and one of the most effective ways that they can learn and grow essential life skills. Nowadays, children have less freedom and more supervision, which leads them to several types of impairments that can negatively affect them in their future. When they're older, having a job or having a family, they won't have these essential life skills that they've learned and that will stay with them for the rest of their lives. Children will not receive the precious life lessons that cannot be taught in a class or by others, but simply from personal mistakes. It's not easy though. We have both grown in different types of environments, with having immigrant parents or raising children who are in complete opposite environments. That is why it's important to have two-sided conversations, two-sided discussions, to solve the issue and to ultimately create an environment where we are all understood and all heard. So when you guys hear our side of the story, it's also important that we hear your guys' side of the story, because this monologue it's effective, but it's not 100%.
My portion is culture clash and differences that we go through. First, culture is an umbrella term which encompasses the social behavior and norms found in human societies, as well as knowledges, customs, belief, art, and laws. Alright, so basically, culture clash is just us as we grow up. We're born into two different cultures, our one that you guys brought to us, and the one that we were born into, the one that we go to school every day for. We have to balance these two cultures as we grow up, and it's a lot of different beliefs that go on through that, and it's a lot that go against each other. A lot of kids, as they grow up, are forced to have to pick an option, and it leads to them kind of being lost in where they really want to be. At least for me, I always knew where I was from, I always knew who I was, but as well, I didn't take it and really understand where I was from. It kind of took a while, and now I'm more interested in my culture, my history, and everything that I really want to know about myself and where I come from. But when I was younger, it was a lot of maybe jokes that were a little misled for me, and having different type of ideas for certain things, and kind of pushing that culture kind of to the side instead. But I think that's something that we should all work with and help. For you guys, I think the best thing to do with helping your kids for that is not just forcing it upon them, but also being there to really help them on understanding it. A lot of the stories that you tell is really helpful, especially. For me, the stories of like my grandfather and my grandparents and cousins that were back home and the traveling there, it really does help. It shows you, it gives you a background of where your family's really from, and that's what really helped me. It helped me want to learn more about it. But yeah, I think that's something that you should all do. Just tell stories, tell them like the history and stuff. That'll really help. But, yeah.
So basically my portion, I'll be talking about why you shouldn't compare your kids with others. So I'm basically going to be listing three ways it can negatively affect your child. First, it produces self-doubt. If we are told by someone that we are not good enough and we're not good at something and that there are others out there who excel at it, slowly but steadily self-doubt will grow. Your kids will be left wondering if they're ever good enough. Your job as parents is to encourage them at every step they take, not to remind them of who else is ahead. Two, it will breed jealousy. If you keep comparing your child with a person of near perfection, he or she may begin to suffer from episodes of extreme jealousy. It could be a neighborhood kid, a classmate, a cousin, and so on. Jealousy is not a very healthy feeling to have, and your kid could be tormented by jealousy, which could all easily turn into hatred and perhaps even aggression. Lastly, it could cause a damaged relationship. If you tell your child time and time again that the neighbor's kid is better than her, she'll eventually start despising you. Children are emotionally vulnerable. They may not be able to see the bigger picture and that you are concerned for them. Instead, they will feel that you are not on their side.
Hi everybody, I'm going to be presenting on discipline. So first, what is discipline? Can anyone give me a guess or something? Just raise your hand, don't be shy. I'm gonna wait. Okay.
I think if you do something wrong, the parent put you aside to rethink what you did and run away from that. So just put you aside.
That's one form. Did you have something? Yeah. So discipline, those are two examples of discipline, and discipline can be defined as the process of teaching your child what type of behavior is acceptable and not acceptable. When we hear the word discipline, we usually think about the not acceptable, right? This is bad, this is wrong. But it's also about the stuff that's good and encouraging them to do the good things. So the goal of discipline, the finish line, is to make them self-reliant, self-controlled, and respectful, and learn what is right from wrong. So you want them to be able to, now at the end of the day, you want them to be able to do these things by themselves and hold themselves in a respectable manner. And so what types of parents exist? What types of disciplinaries are there, right? So first, there's the authoritarian parent. So this parent has clear expectations and consequences, but shows little affection towards his or her child. And the parent may say things when the child does something that they don't like. They may say, you have to do it because I said so, because I'm your mom or because I'm your dad. But they don't explain why the reasons behind why the action may be bad. So this is a less effective form of parenting. And in regards to our culture, I know in Ethiopia, you guys were raised differently than the way we're raised here. So some people may say I was raised like this and I ended up fine, and my kid will end up fine because I'm fine. But it's important to, break those cycles and have patience with your child. The other form of parenting is opposite, and it's a permissive parent. So this parent shows a lot of affection towards their child, but little discipline, and they let them get away with all kinds of behavior because they're scared their child might not like them if they're mad at them, or they love them a lot and they don't know how to set boundaries for their child. So, if you take the way the parenting culture is in Ethiopia, you're I don't want to raise my child like that. I want to be really different, but it's important to also set limits. It's not a bad thing as well. And so this is the perfect balance. It's an authoritative parent, and so this parent has clear expectations and consequences, but is also affectionate. Your child is not going to listen if they only know you for being mad at them all the time. But also, if you let your child get away with everything, when you get mad at them, they're going to be so surprised and so shocked. So it's important to have a mix of both and have flexibility. And when your child crosses a line, to creatively think about, how to deal with the challenge, right? So an example is if a child broke their toy, right? That's kind of a natural consequence. The child already knows that they broke their toy. They're sad that they broke their toy. So there's no need to yell at them and lecture them about breaking their toy, because they already understand, I broke my toy and I can't enjoy it anymore. That's bad. And so they'll learn from that instead of yelling at them and making them more upset than they need to be. So this is the most effective form of parenting. You have to show your child love, but they also need to know that there are some things that they can't do. So like I was saying earlier, half of discipline is positive relationships. Discipline is not just getting mad. You also have to reward good behavior. So whenever you see your child, doing homework on their own, or maybe sleeping early, or I don't know, but you have to reward them for the good types of behavior so that they know that they're doing good outside of doing bad, if that makes sense. So yeah, compliment your child when they do the behavior that you do like, and so that they can distinguish the difference between what you don't do and don't like, and if they do something that you don't like, then it doesn't come as a surprise to them. And then the key to getting them to listen, if you have a child that's like, I don't want to listen to anything you're saying, is to respect them. Your child is not an extension of yourself, but their own person. So they may think differently, have their own opinions, and as they grow up especially. So it's important to see them as their own person and to approach them with a level head and try to understand what they're thinking. And that's it. And so now we're going to take questions. So if you have a question, raise your hand, and then I'll walk to you, and then one of us will answer.